Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Now, I'm taking the muscle contraction now. I'm actually previously I've talked about the structure, morphology, and microscopic anatomy of the muscles. Classification has been done previously, and the function associated with the classification has been also been done. And I have also given a very, half an hour lecture, more than that, on the ion channels. Remember, the ion channels, they are very important in the future, which is coming very near, where only the channelnomics or channelopathies type of things are coming into the medical profession, and they should be understood now, should be. I am Professor Sayyid Ali Haider. I am talking as a Global Honorary Professor of Medicine without any name or fame or any economics. Physiology, this is the functional anatomy now, physiology of the muscle contraction. Skeletal muscle, like I'm describing. First of all, the muscle fiber contraction is all or none. This is the law. Whether it is contracted or it is not contracted. I mean, semi-contraction, laziness and lethargy contraction, this is absolutely wrong terminology. It should be done or not done, all or none law. With the skeletal muscle, not all fibers may be stimulated during the same interval. You know that if there are, bundles are there and then fascicles are there, then sarcomere will be there. So all fibers may be stimulated during the same interval. In the same interval, not all fibers are stimulated, but the coming signals from 1, 2, 3 are coming from the, at the myelinating junction. They will stimulate all fibers afterwards, depending upon the type of the activity. The different combination of the muscle fiber contraction may give different responses. I already told you about it. The agonists or antagonists, anagonists, fixators. Now, graded responses are different degrees of skeletal muscle shortening. Rapid stimulus will cause the constant contraction, or tetanus, that is called. It is a constant contraction. Yeah, this is how the muscle force depends upon the number of fibers stimulated. If you are running, more fibers contract result in a greater muscle, and activity. Muscle can continue to contract unless they run out of the ATP or calcium. If there is deficiency of this, then of course they will stop contracting. And they remember that one molecule of ATP supplies enough energy for the actin and myosin cross bridging. Only one molecule is needed to supply enough energy for the cross bridging of the actin and the myosin. Now, ATP energy of the muscle contraction, ATP production for the muscle contraction, definitely it is needed there by cryptic acid cycle or glycolytic cycle, whatever you call them, neuron pathway, and ATP is produced. Now, creatine phosphate, cellular respiration and fermentation. There is anaerobic respiration. It can be done. And these are the results of this. ATP creatine phosphate will be formed. Cellular respiration occurs, and fermentation, anaerobic respiration occurs. This is needed definitely for the. I already mentioned out about the phosphorylation of the channel. It needs it there. You need creatine phosphate there. So these are the important points regarding the ATP. Why ATP is needed for the muscle contraction? Because the contraction depends upon creatine phosphate, cellular respiration, or if there is no oxygen, then fermentation. The muscle force depends upon the number of the fibers stimulated. I already mentioned out this thing. So this is the energy for the muscle contraction. Muscles are stored ATP for the energy. Bonds of the ATP are broken to release energy, and only 4 to 6 seconds worth of ATP is stored by the muscles. Only 4 to 6 seconds, only worth of the ATP which is stored by the muscles. Muscle with glycogen, is full of glycogen. Glycolysis occurs there. So only needing about 6 seconds, ATP is stored by the muscles. more than that. It should be utilized properly for the creatine phosphate cellular respiration for the fermentation. 3 ways for the muscle to make energy, that is for creatine phosphate cellular respiration and fermentation, and I already mentioned out. Creatine phosphate is a high energy compound. It is the fastest way to make ATP available for the muscles because of the channels. It will be consumed by the channels. Used for the activities lasting for less than 15 seconds. And the anaerobic type of, whereas the oxygen is not needed here, then it will be converted definitely to the fermentation procedure. The reaction is creatine phosphate plus ADP will form creatine plus ATP. This is the equation which is given. One ADP molecule will combine with the creatine phosphate and you will find the creatine plus ATP. So in this fashion, the ATP will be generated and creatine phosphate is made when a muscle is at rest. Now, cellular respiration, mitochondria use glucose molecules to make ATP in the presence of oxygen. They need oxygen, provide most of the muscles adenosine triphosphate, and aerobic needs oxygen. This is the aerobic cycle along with the glycolysis is concerned. Used for the activities lasting for hours. That is why it is cellular respiration. And reaction is that when a glucose molecules is combined with 6 molecules of the oxygen, it forms 6 molecules of carbon dioxide plus 6 molecules of water plus ATP energy. This is the equation. That is glucose combined with the oxygen 6 molecules, liberating carbon dioxide with water, same 6, and ATP. In this fashion, this is how the aerobic respiration occurs. So one glucose molecule will generate 36 ATP. 36. You balance this equation now. If you have to do this ATP, this in triphosphate, 36. Here it should be 36. Otherwise, equation cannot be formed. It is not easy to do it. So one glucose molecule will form 36 ATP. So it should be utilized as soon as possible. Reactions, anaerobic respiration, fermentation, that is the reaction that breaks down glucose without oxygen. Right? So used for the activity lasting more than that. Not 30 seconds, not 15 seconds, it is 30 to 60 seconds. Anaerobic means no oxygen and reaction is glucose. Now converted into pyruvic acid and afterwards it forms in the end result is lactic acid. Lactic acid accumulation will occur in the muscles and it is the feeling of the fatigue, lethargy, and the activity become decreased now. Now lactic acid is also produced as it causes pain in the muscles, myalgia can occur, lethargy can occur. It is written here, glycogen, glucose, ATP releasing pyruvic acid and lactic acid. It should not be formed because oxygen is needed here. Now anaerobic mechanism, glycolysis and lactic acid formation occur. Energy source is glucose, oxygen use none in this anaerobasis, and products are 2 ATP per glucose lactic acid. 2 ATP per glucose lactic acid duration of energy. It provides energy for more than that is 60 seconds. Heavy breathing after exercise. Heavy breathing after exercise is a sign of oxygen deficiency because lactic acids are accumulated and you need oxygen now. A marathon runner is exhausted after crossing the finish line because they have depleted not only the oxygen but depleted also the glucose. That is why they become so much tired and exhausted and lie down afterwards. So replace the muscles and glycolysis. This is the cycle actually which is going on. I must say that in the marathon, enough energy should be there for the person to run. Enough he has glycogen in his muscles, and he should be fit for this race. Otherwise, in the halfway, he can develop the acidosis, and he will definitely go into coma. The muscle and the body movement. The movement is attained due to the muscle moving an attached bone. There is attachment, of course, there. Muscles are attached to these 2 points, that insertion and exertion. Insertion attached to a movable bone, and origin attachment to an immovable bone. So it is a static, it is a dynamic. One part is static and one part is an action, dynamic. Now, types of ordinary body movements are flexion and decreases the angle of the joint and brings two bones close together. Extension are the increased angle of the joint. I already discussed out previously, I think 3 months back. Rotation, movement of the bone in the longitudinal axis, shaking head, no. Abduction, moving away from the midline. Adduction, moving toward the midline. Circumduction means cone-shaped movement, so 360-degree movement. Proximal end doesn't move, while distal end moves in a circle, just like this. The type of the muscles, accordingly, the muscle work in opposing directions, in opposing pairs, like the example like biceps, the flexion of the arm, the triceps, extension of the arm. So one is what is called agonist, one is antagonist. The prime mover muscle that does most of the work. Synergists are the muscle that helps in the prime mover in the movement. Antagonists are the muscle that opposes or reverses the prime mover. In this fashion, the sustained contraction occurs and the movement is possible. Fixators are also there. Now, direction of the muscle fiber, like the straight fiber, rectus, orbicularis, like circular, I already mentioned out the relative size of the muscle. Example, the maximum, the largest, it is very thick muscle, minimus is smallest, and the longest is concerned, brevis is short. Longest means long, brevis means short. Location of the muscle, example, the pectoralis, chest, it is the external, outside, frontalis, frontal bone. So it is the pectoralis muscle of the chest which is contracting the main, if you are moving in for the flexion. Number of the regions, example, the tricep, free heads. And location of the muscle, region and insertion, example, a sternocleidomastoid on the sternum. And shape of the muscle, example, a deltoid, triangular, depending upon this, I have already classified it. Action of the muscle, flexor or extensor, flexor or extensor bone. Effects of the aging of the muscle that are not used are replaced by the connective tissue than by fat. It is going on. If you are not using dystrophy occurs and atrophy occurs, then it is replaced by the fat. So you have to move. If you are young, that's all right, moving. But in the old age, the activity decreases and it is the muscles, they are not used, or what is called is disuse, or it is replaced by that, because there is definitely a degeneration occurs in this dystrophic degeneration, and it may be calcified in some places. With age comes degeneration of the mitochondria due to exposure of the oxygen and free radicals. There is degeneration of the mitochondria due to exposure of to the oxygen and the free radicals. Now coming here, this is how the ages affects nervous system, endocrine system, affects structure and function of the muscle, because also their activity are reduced. Muscle become weaker as we age, but exercise can stimulate muscle build-up. Going on exercise, you are 50, 60, 70, 75, it will not be affected much. Activity is going on, the function is going on, it is not affected by the dystrophy or atrophy or calcification of the muscles. Now this is a person who is aged about around 80 years, let's say she is 86 years old, and a bodybuilder, and she is 80, and he can swim, and he triathlon participant, he 1 to 2 mile swim, then 56 mile bike, and 31.1 mile run. He is equal to 70.3 miles he achieved at the age of 80. And this is how they are fit themselves. Now disorders relating to the muscular system, this is the applied anatomy. Muscular dystrophy, inherited muscle enlarged due to the increased fat, replaced by the fat and the connective tissue. The Duchenne dystrophy, for example, but fibers degenerate and atrophy. Now Duchenne, lacking a protein to maintain the sarcolemma, Myasthenia gravis is again a very important condition in which the progressive weakness due to the shortage of the acetylcholine receptors. Strain, what do you mean strain? Strain means overstretching of a muscle near a joint. Overstretching. This is overstretching. What is strain then? Strain means twisting of the joint, leading to swelling and injury to the ligaments, tendons, blood vessels, and nerves. So they are at the stakes. Strain is a different terminology. Strain means overstretching of the muscle. Overstretching. You got pain there, it may be swelling. Sprain means twisting of the joint whole, leading to the swelling and injury to ligaments, tendons, blood vessels, and nerves. It can lead to the trauma to near the joint bones, and then who have got osteoporosis, it will definitely can cause the fracture. The myalgia and tendinitis. Myalgia is inflammation of the muscle tissue. Arthritis or previous slide, it's arthritis, the inflammation of the joint. Tendinitis is inflammation of the tendon due to the strain of the repeated activity. These are terminology they are using. Now this is the applied side of the skeletal muscles. I have described the skeletal muscles and the applied side, and a lot of discussion has been done. Look how the general anatomy is not a very simple one. You have to study in a systematic manner so that you can understand. Any question arising from it, you can pick it. I hope so. You can understand these terminologies. I should be repeating afterwards also, and I have taken a very long time. I'm very sorry, but I have to do like this to clarify yourself and myself. وما علينا إلا البلاغ. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله.